Sweetie, really, don't go there, okay?
Oh, I went there. I went there, took some pictures, and flew back already.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 South Park jokes that cross the line.
Dude, that's not cool. You shouldn't make fun of Christopher Reeve. Yeah, dude, not cool.
For this list, we're taking a look at instances where South Park got especially controversial and offensive, even to the point that it shocked longtime fans of the show. Which South Park joke made you think, okay, they've gone too far this time? Let us know below. Number 20. Kyle kills Jesus. In Fantastic Easter Special, Jesus and Kyle find themselves being held prisoner by the Catholic League. In order to escape the cell that they are being held in, Jesus must use his powers. But unable to use them as a mortal, Jesus realizes the only way he can reobtain them is by dying. He asks for Kyle's assistance, who naturally has some reservations.
Dude, you don't understand. I'm a Jew. I have a few hang-ups about killing Jesus.
However, he follows through with the request, and the aftermath is gruesome to say the least. The writers clearly knew what they were doing here. Fortunately, he is actually resurrected and is able to save the day.
Jesus?
Number 19. Garrison's relationship with Garrison Sr. In Worldwide Recorder Concert, Garrison is shown to have a complicated father-child relationship. Based on how Garrison behaves, viewers are led to believe Garrison Sr. mistreated Garrison. But that is not at all the case. In fact, it's actually quite the opposite. In a shocking twist, the issue stems from the fact that he never actually did anything to Garrison in the first place, and this results in Garrison believing that Garrison Sr. had no love for his child.
What? Was it that I was ugly?
Oh my God!
I wasn't good enough for you. Was that it, Dad?
Well, no!
Thus, the episode sees Garrison pressuring Garrison Sr. into assault to prove his love. We can only gasp and be in shock at this strange twist of reverse psychology.
You stood by and let it happen. You saw him come home drunk and then just go right to sleep.
I'm not listening.
Face it, Mother, he never abused me.
Number 18. Woodland Critter Christmas. Leave it to Trey Parker and Matt Stone to add in an absolutely insane plot twist. In arguably the show's most shocking Christmas special, what starts out as a simple tale with Stan helping out a few cute-looking critters takes on a very, very dark turn.
Now our Critter Christmas can finally happen. Hail Satan!
Hail Satan!
Wait, what?
Much to his horror, Stan soon realizes that these critters are not who they say they are and have very dark intentions. Rejoicing at no longer having to deal with the mountain lion that frequently foiled their plans, they celebrate in utterly vile fashion. It's too much for even those with the utmost tolerance. Number 17. Sex Education. Season 5's proper condom use centers on sex education. At South Park Elementary, teachers attempt to educate the children about sex and, as anticipated, fail tremendously. One such instance where we see their shortcomings firsthand is when Garrison is shown educating kindergartners about condoms and how to put them on. How does Garrison do this, you might ask? With a full-on demonstration involving the mouth. The children are traumatized, and, well, we can't blame them.
The time is drawing close for delivery. Here we can see the water breaking.
Ew!
The episode itself sparked so much controversy that it was banned in the United Kingdom, and the country of Australia even increased the episode's rating. Number 16. The Miss Crabtree Stunt. It's no secret that Kenny is very much into performing crazy stunts, but when he's unable to perform his most dangerous one yet in Season 4's Fat Camp due to a run-in with Howard Stern, Stan and Kyle force a boy posing as Cartman to go through with it instead.
But this isn't fair.
Deal, druggie.
Dressed as Kenny, the boy does what the real Kenny was supposed to do: insert himself inside Miss Crabtree's uterus and remain inside there for 6 hours on live television. Naturally, things don't end well for the poor boy, and he unfortunately doesn't live to tell the tale. We understand the creator's intent to parody the show Jackass, but this was just too much. Number 15. Bloody Mary. The town of South Park was in complete pandemonium when a statue of the Virgin Mary begins shooting blood from its behind.
People from all over the state have flocked here to the church to witness the apparent miracle firsthand.
Randy and other townspeople begin to believe this is a miracle, and that coming into contact with the statue means there's a chance that it could cure their diseases. However, upon further inspection, it is not revealed to be a miracle, since the blood is in fact actually coming from another part of the female anatomy. While Christians likely weren't too pleased with the manner at which the Virgin Mary was depicted, the mere sight of a statue shooting blood at people wasn't a comforting sight to see.
I'm not going to drink this. I'm not going to drink this! It's a miracle! I'm cured!
Number 14. Randy starts COVID-19.
Does it matter what started coronavirus? Who cares what started coronavirus? You guys are being racist!
Are we really all that surprised? Out of all the characters on South Park, if anybody were to start a worldwide pandemic, it'd most definitely be Randy. Upon hearing a news report that the COVID-19 pandemic started as a result of someone being contaminated by a bat in Wuhan, he begins to connect the dots.
A bat in Wuhan?
He remembers how, during a night on the town in China with Mickey Mouse, he had sexual relations with a bat. On top of that, when the source of COVID is later revealed to in fact be a pangolin, Randy remembers that he and Mickey also had sexual relations with it. This, and the fact that viewers see Randy and everyone's favorite mouse actually getting it on with animals, is shocking to say the least. Number 13. Enterorectogestion. In the episode Red Hot Catholic Love, Cartman bizarrely comes up with an outrageous hypothesis in that if one puts food up their rectum, they shall defecate through their mouth.
Cartman, that's the dumbest thing you've ever said.
The other boys find this outrageous, but when it actually ends up working, everyone is in utter disbelief.
Yes! Yes, I did it! I crapped out my mouth! I crapped out my mouth!
News spreads of the phenomenon, and it isn't long before the citizens of South Park begin doing it too. We see what the writers are trying to do here, but it's, well, how could we put it? Really disgusting? The amount of times we see people literally spew crap becomes almost excessive, and it is clearly over-exaggerated. Fortunately, the townspeople eventually decide on ending the practice. Number 12. Mr. Slave versus Paris Hilton. It's the showdown of the century, as Paris Hilton and Mr. Slave go head-to-head to see who is the biggest floozy of them all. Paris starts things off when she not only makes out with the event MC, but then lewdly dances with several random males. She ends it off by doing something that we can only describe as way over the top with a pineapple. When it's time for Mr. Slave to prove his worth, he does so by absorbing Miss Hilton. No one anticipated for this to be the way in which Mr. Slave would get one over this celebrity. And the only thing more surprising than that is the fact that she survives the whole ordeal.
Let me out of here!
Number 11. Steve Irwin. At his Halloween party, it is brought to Satan's attention that someone has dressed up as Steve Irwin, and it's upsetting the guests.
Oh, jeez.
Satan confronts the individual, but he soon realizes that they are, in fact, Steve Irwin. To say that the encounter becomes awkward is an understatement, but Satan quickly kicks him out of the party because he wasn't wearing a costume.
Oh, but then, dude, no costume.
Everything about this joke feels completely wrong. From the way in which Irwin is depicted, the fact that he's in hell, or even him mentioning that he thought both he and Satan were friends. It all feels very distasteful. Number 10. Cuttlefish and asparagus.
I give you the human centipede!
The Human Centipede has gained a reputation as one of the most repulsive films ever made. Naturally, South Park simply couldn't resist parodying the infamous horror film. Steve Jobs assumes the role of the Mad Doctor, sewing 3 Apple users together from mouth to anus.
Looks good, guys. Great work.
Unfortunately for Kyle, he's the one who ends up in the middle of Jobs' human centipad. While the whole setup is cringeworthy, the scene that really got under people's skin involved an Asian man digesting cuttlefish and asparagus into Kyle's mouth. As disgusting as the episode might be, at least it didn't go full sequence on us. Number 9. Chef's Demise.
You guys! Chef is going away. Going away? For how long? Forever.
In Season 9, South Park flirted with controversy with its mockery of Scientology.
You don't actually believe this crap, do you?
But for many people, it was the aftermath in Season 10 that truly crossed the line. Isaac Hayes' Scientology entourage made a statement that was reportedly on his behalf, requesting he be released from the show. In response, the creators used pre-recorded dialogue to portray Chef as a deviant that's been brainwashed. The kicker comes when Chef falls down a cliff, is impaled, gets attacked by wild animals, and defecates. Watching poor Chef go in the most demeaning way possible, audiences couldn't help but shout,
You bastards! You bastards!
Number 8. Britney Spears. 2008 was just not Britney Spears' best year, and South Park was there to take advantage. The boys accidentally pushed Britney to her limits, influencing the pop princess to put a shotgun in her mouth. Although the top of her head is blown off, Britney amazingly doesn't die. Even after this suicide attempt, people continue to mock her appearance and behavior. The episode's relentlessness left the audience feeling uncomfortable throughout. To the creators' credit, however, they did make some thoughtful commentary on how the media and public had been treating the singer, influencing them to just leave Britney alone already.
I think it's time for us to leave the poor girl alone.
Number 7. Cartman's Revenge. By the 5th season, Eric Cartman had already proven himself as South Park's resident bad boy. In this episode, though, he went from being a problem child to a flat-out psychopath. As a petty feud with older student Scott Tenorman escalates, Cartman gets his revenge by arranging to have his rival's parents murdered. It doesn't end there, as he grinds up their bodies and feeds them to the unsuspecting Scott.
Do you like it? Do you like it, Scott? I call it Mr. and Mrs. Tenorman chili. Oh my God! Oh my God!
On one hand, the episode boldly pushed boundaries. On the other, we can definitely see why this downright mean-spirited ending left so many people saying, "That's too much."
Yes! Oh, let me taste your tears, Scott. Your tears are so yummy and sweet.
Dude, I think it might be best for us to never piss Cartman off again. Good call.
Number 6. HIV-Positive. South Park has never shied away from poking fun at AIDS, but that didn't make this episode any less outrageous. It all begins when a surgery gone wrong results in Cartman contracting HIV.
During the tonsil surgery, we had to supply you with donor blood. A mistake was made and you were given blood contaminated with HIV. It was a 1 in a billion fluke.
I have AIDS?
Kyle views this as karmic, which influences Cartman to pass on the deadly disease onto him. With some help from Magic Johnson, the two eventually find a cure for the virus, cash and lots of it. Sadly, not everyone has $180,000 just lying around. Kyle's outburst at Cartman towards the episode's conclusion sums up why AIDS isn't funny. Nevertheless, Cartman still tries to put an HIV-positive spin on things.
You boys both have the virus, are you sure?
We're not just sure, we're HIV positive.
Number 5. Lemmywinks.
Holy moly! I've got to find a way to get fired for being gay.
Learning that the school can be sued if Garrison's fired for being gay, the teacher basically turns the classroom into a sex dungeon. Determined to shock the students, Garrison hatches a plan that involves a gerbil, a Bunsen burner, and Mr. Slave's butt. Lemmywinks soon discovers that he's not the only animal that's been shoved up Slave's rectum, leading to one vile adventure. While Matt Stone and Trey Parker found this hilarious, most of their colleagues just thought it was bizarre and would never make it into the finished product. Even to the duo's friends, the episode was as messed up as it was funny. Number 4. Ghost Ectoplasm. A world without internet means no Brazilian adult entertainment, leaving Randy unable to pleasure himself. Upon getting back online, Randy is finally allowed to unleash weeks of pent-up frustration.
Finally, I'm online again.
But his moans attract unrequested attention and mass vomiting. Randy tries to pass off the white substance covering his body as ectoplasm, but the Ghostbusters reference doesn't get him anywhere. After this scene was aired, Trey Parker stated that it was probably the most offensive shot in the show's history and couldn't believe the censors let it slide by. It's really saying something when the co-creator of South Park admits the show crossed a line. Number 3. Muhammad. South Park has gotten away with a lot, but the censors draw the line when it comes to portraying the prophet Muhammad. Still, Muhammad actually was depicted in Season 5 alongside Jesus, Buddha, and other religious figures. But when the creators later tried showing Muhammad in a Season 10 two-parter, Comedy Central wouldn't have it.
You mean like the time you had tea with Muhammad, the prophet of the Muslim faith?
Come on, Muhammad, let's get some tea.
They challenged censorship once again in the 200th episode, as the boys attempted to unveil Muhammad to Tom Cruise. In due course, Stone and Parker received a death threat from a radical Muslim group. Muhammad's name was subsequently censored in the 201st episode, along with the episode's message. Number 2. Christopher Reeve and stem cells.
As most of you know, I am a strong supporter of stem cell research.
Following the accident that paralyzed him, Christopher Reeve became an advocate for stem cell research, which gave Matt and Trey a jaw-dropping idea. Audiences couldn't believe their eyes when Reeve was depicted sucking fetuses dry. The stem cells eventually turned Reeve into a supervillain, his arch nemesis, of course, being Gene Hackman.
You won't stop me, Hackman!
Knowing that it would be in poor taste, the creators initially held back on satirizing Reeve, but decided to go for it after seeing his Larry King Live interview. Even then, they knew the joke would only get by if virtually every character acknowledged that this really wasn't cool. And it wasn't. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Indiana Jones. When Stan and Kyle mentioned that one of their friends was assaulted, audiences knew that South Park was about to cross the line like never before. Of course, nobody could have predicted that the friend in question was Indiana Jones, who was terribly mistreated by Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. We see Jones suffer at the hands of both filmmakers multiple times throughout the episode, with each instance being more graphic than the last.
No, what are you gonna do to him?
While there is some pretty clever satire here, this incredibly dark imagery had a lot of people feeling grossed out, disturbed, and uncertain if they should be laughing. Was Kingdom of the Crystal Skull really that bad?
I thought it was pretty good.